What is natural law? How does it work with karma, and how does it affect my manifestation? We're going to be talking about all of this morning on Morning Meditation. I am Ann Morrison, and welcome to Ascension Studios. So, what is natural law? I just recently saw a program on Gaia, and it does really good with this. So, natural law is taking into account many different peoples. All of these peoples have their own set of experiences that they're supposed to be doing for their journey in this earth, in this realm. And each one of them has a circle of influence. Where your circle meets another person's circle, you want to allow it to bounce off if it wants to. Convincing a person of something other than what actually fits with their journey is interfering with their journey. If they do not automatically embrace, then let it be. It isn't a part of their journey. And when you are affecting and changing or shaming or blaming or hurting another person based upon the fact that they don't want to be on your journey, you are actually violating natural law. Natural law means that I am fully living my journey. You are fully living your journey. If you and my journey come into being and interact and the conversation happens, I'm going to converse where my journey is. I'm going to respect where your journey is. And if it is not in your journey to believe exactly as I do, I'm going to let it go. Know when to shut up, basically. As soon as, say, you raise a child, and these are the things up to 18 that are the rules for the child, and then the child goes off on their own, and then you go into their place, and, well, they put the houseplant way far away from the window. It's going to die. So you need to impose your will, and you need to come and take that plant and put that plant next to the window and change up how they are living. That is interference. If you realize that they have to find out that that plant is going to die, or maybe they have a different light source that they're putting on it, or maybe there is a whole different thing about that plant that you don't understand, and you let it sit there, that is when you are following natural law. You going in and convincing a bunch of people that because they religiously don't believe the same way that you are means that they're going to hell. They're terrible people. Something bad is going to happen to them, that they will be blamed and shamed and shunned and all this other crap. Super, super bad. There are bad things that happen to people and people who do bad things. And you have done some. If you are a human being who's been on this planet any length of time, you've done something bad. When you try to convince somebody to act in a way that might be contrary to their own journey, whether good or bad, once they're an adult, they got to run their own journey. If they don't ask, shut the hell up. That is the essence of divine law. It isn't don't hurt anybody. Unfortunately, we learn a lot from hurting people. I don't recommend it. It brings back all sorts of blah. Anyway, if we, and everybody has, hurt somebody, then we can see that there will be a mirror image of that scenario come back to us, which is karma. And we either learn in the process of doing, or we learn in the process of it being done to us, to let other people on their own journey. Now, if you want to show up here and you want to be part of this journey and you want part of this knowledge, it's here. Go for it. And if you don't, go and do your journey exactly the way that you're supposed to. It is really difficult to not judge. Now, I was brought up, and most women my age were brought up, that's all I know, to be hyper judgmental of many people all along your path, and to know what's right and what's wrong. And if they're not doing it, they're wrong. And if they are doing it, they're right. And that is a natural law. What that brought me was other people judging me, other people disapproving, other people telling me that I shouldn't, and shaming and blaming. And I did it. I fully immersed myself in judging the whole friggin' world. I did. I had to go through all of the karma, all of the mirror back of my actions, and getting really, really sick to be able to realize that this was not within the divine law. The divine law says, if you are going forward as a missionary, then I wish you the best on your journey. Divine law says, if you are going forward as an atheist, I wish you the best on your journey. I do not have to convince you to do something different. I do not have it in my power to enact my beliefs on your path. And it's a tough one. But what it does is it opens you up to the connection between all of the human beings. Because there is a part of us underneath this wonderful divine law that happens everywhere. Let everybody live who they are. That is the connection part of us that is pure love. Even when you're doing bad things. And to feel that, and for our society to move into that, and for our life to be immersed in this wonderful divine love, we have to stop deciding that somebody else's journey is the wrong one. In any way, it's not. If she wore that in public, honey, that's because she is rocking it. End of story. If they went and did that where they weren't supposed to do that, they are obviously living on a different frequency. And wouldn't it be cool to feel it for yourself? You go in all guns blazing judging, you won't get a chance to. It's very rare that you get a chance to feel those things that are totally out of the sphere of your imaginings. And it isn't like the regular law, you believe as I do or you're crap. It is divine law. And once we get past that, you don't believe as I do, so you're crap stuff, that is where we find peace. That is where we are able to enact in love. That is where we are able to give to the world and receive from the world that which we're here to do. And that is really cool stuff. So the only thing our evolution as an entire society is waiting for is for us to stop doing that business and start doing all of us business. We are all here for our own personal individualized journey. And I don't want anybody to tell me to feel bad about it, which means I have to not tell anybody else to feel bad about their personal journey. And it's a hard concept to grasp. It really is. So today we're going to open our mind up to not the law that we know, not the law that we were told, not the rules of the family, the rules of the religion, or let's just base it on the divine truth that when we enact on somebody else's divine journey, uninvited, it goes against divine law. Their journey is just as sacrosanct as our journey. And if they are ready for a change, they will ask penetrating questions and we answer them without judgment. And if that allows someone to come and change to the way that you are thinking, then this was something that is supposed to happen within their path. But it's a fine line. We are so used to talking about our opinions as the only way this can happen. We have to open up to the fact that every single one of the journeys that is happening right now is of vital importance. It is necessary. It is sacrosanct. Journey of the neighbor that I don't like that told me I wasn't a good enough friend. Sacrosanct. Her and I were not supposed to be journeying together as friends anymore. Okay. I can sit here and complain about it, and I can whine about it, and I can go over there and I can try to change your mind about it, and I can just let her go on and live her journey, and I can go on and live my journey. No anger, no retribution, no nastiness. Okay, that journey didn't fit. Sweet, let's move on. But yeah, it's a tough thing to do. And it's something that we have not been patterned as a society to do at all. But it is the direct basis of where the karma comes from. Because if we are feeling an impediment to our journey, it is most likely a karmic reaction to a way that we have impeded another person's journey. And I can own that I deserved all of mine. Absolutely. And I also deserve the journey that I am on now. Every bit of it. And I embrace that. And I embrace that I still have some learning to get my brain there all the time. It isn't an overnight thing. The realization is huge. But the actual implementation of, okay, that's their journey. Person who cut me off, okay, that's their journey. You gotta go, there you go. Instead of, oh, that cut me off. It wasn't about us. It was about their journey. And by all means, live your journey. It's important. It's vital. Just like mine. This is the basis of the frequency that allows us to easily manifest. That when we give, it gives back to us 100-fold. All that other good stuff. To base yourself in the natural law. And that's a natural law. Don't impose on another person's journey. Be part of it if it is part of your journey. End of story. And don't take it as personal. They're doing their journey. That's personal to them. And somebody cutting you off sucks, but it's not personal. It has nothing to do with you as a person. It is simply somebody is having a possibly transformative day. I always think of anger as a possibly transformative experience. So maybe they're just having a possibly transformative day. We're going to open up our minds to be able to allow the embodiment of the rules. Because that's the rules. That's how we get or don't get stuff. That's how we live in harmony with the world or don't. It's all based upon whether we are impeding somebody else, trying to sway or guide or manipulate or destroy or shame somebody into something else, or whether we are 100% respectful to their journey. That's the divine law, the golden rule. Am I being totally respectful to your journey, to everyone's journey, so that I can be totally respectful to my own? Or am I not? And I'm sure your experiences will tell you, because you will be getting what you give. So, starting off in the third eye, where we allow ourselves to think outside the box, where our imagination gets together with our logic, and beautiful things happen. Fill it up. Feel the energy in the field all around your head right at that point. A little above your eyebrows, in the center, over top of your nose. There. That's it. Feel the energy. Connect to the higher power. Now, isn't it amazing? As soon as we think out of the box, we are connecting to universal love, to wisdom we can't even fathom, to the next step of our journey, all by breaking down and thinking out of this box. You open right up into the ether. All that's unseen, everything the energy flows through and around and all that. Opening this box. And we're going to come through and do more in this area. But first of all, let's harmonize. Get all the colors and all the frequencies of the chakras working together. Feel them out to here. All nice and balanced and aligned. Feel them vibrating, singing, harmonizing. Connect to the earth, bare feet on the ground if at all possible. And feel the connection of the solidity, particle to particle. Be part of the conversation of the earth, happening through all these wonderful different avenues and highways, roots, mycelium, energy and flow and oil, who knows, unrefined. And we're going to come back up here into third eye and go directly into our mind palace. Calm the tornado. We can sit peacefully in our chair. Nice straight spine, ears over tail. We want that good spinal fluid flow. And let's see people. Everyone in their own bubble. A bubble is more than just the energy that you feel from other people. It's more than the space in which we're comfortable. It is the area that we take up in this world that is all about us and our journey. And if you can imagine people with toxic energy coming up and their bubble bouncing off of yours and going back into their journey, and you can imagine the people that you learn from as mentors coming in and some of those bubbles overlapping, and that space being beneficial to both, and then them going this way and us going this way. And you can see the bubbles that we are traveling with and all of the things that interact with those bubbles, whether they're welcoming in toxicity or whether they are welcoming in knowledge, that affects you because your bubble is still intertwined with theirs. And if we can recognize that each person's own bubble is important, the way that the person who thinks totally opposite how I think is perfect and needs to stay intact exactly as it is. It doesn't need my help in changing unless I was asked for a different opinion, which would be mine. All these people throughout just the town you live in. Just think of all the people in the town you live in their bubbles. In a city, you are interacting with other people's bubbles so much every single day. And there is judgment floating everywhere in the midst of all the space in between. And we can just choose to not let it in our bubble. We are not going to embrace it. We're not going to say that person was right or that person was wrong. We're not going to say, oh my God, what did they wear that in public for? We're not going to say how you believe is not the way you're going to hell. And we're not going to say you suck, you're wrong, and should die. We're going to respect that their journey is vital and important. And you know what that does for us? It reminds us that our journey is vital and important and allows us to connect on a deeper vibrational level to the unconditional love that surrounds and flows within everything. And if you violate that law, the karma that you receive will remind you, I enacted upon this person's journey without being asked. I didn't act when I knew I should have. I decided to judge instead of love. And that's going to end. And I am going to respect everyone's journey. Feel the love that we all share underneath. And move forward in mind the best way I can. That's enough for my little brain to think about. That's enough for big brains to think about. I'll take care of my journey. And if my journey interacts with you and we share some bubble space, sweet! Let's open up to the world where everybody did that. What would we argue about? If we all respected everyone's journey, what would we argue about? We wouldn't. We'd create. We'd love, we'd celebrate, we'd enact rituals, we would help each other. See it. And then know that you can make the choice today to do that. Aren't you just the most powerful being there is? I believe you are. Connect. Allow the download. Feel the love. Feel the universe's non-judgment law. Keep that box nice and open. I will embrace that which comes to me today because it's important for my journey. And I will act where I feel compelled to act without judgment. And I will walk. I will talk. I will nurture. I will care. I will give of me. I will sort what's right and wrong for myself. And I will be part of the conversation of the world and be a force for good within it, if any possible means arises to do so. And if not, I will be a source of good for myself. And wait for tomorrow, non-judgmentally. And then come back. Feel how your frequency has changed. You can feel your body vibrating in a different way. I can. And I'm ready for that change. Are you? Namaste.